Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you happen to be watching this video. I am your host, Nick. This will be Nick's Picks number 4. I think it's number 4. We will find that out soon. So to all of you football lovers, welcome in. Glad you are here. I'm going to try and get this knocked out as quickly as possible because this guy has to go to sleep and needs to put up a vlog because it's been a while. And because nothing happened today, August 11th, in football. Just a suspension, some trades, and yeah, that's pretty much all that happened. So, no, I'm joking. Seriously, what is going on with the NFL? I have to tell you this. I was driving on the road when I found out about all the information that was happening, and like a bad driver and a lawbreaker, which I shouldn't have been doing, but we've been waiting for the news of Ezekiel Elliot for a year now. All of this started last year when he was accused by his then girlfriend, or by his ex-girlfriend, of domestic abuse. And first and foremost, let me say this. Guys, you should never, ever, ever, ever put your hands on a girl. Ever. Never. You have no right, no reason, there's no excuse, no matter how angry you get, no matter how probably drunk you get, no matter anything like that. And if you're doing it when you're drunk, then stop getting drunk. That's the thing. But that being said, you should never, ever, 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 ever do that. Remember when I was younger, my father told me if he ever heard of me doing that, I'm pretty sure he said he would go get a shotgun and blow my face off. If that wasn't deterrent enough, just realizing that there's just no need for it. Like, why? It's just bad all around. Anyway, so Ezekiel Elliot is, as of right now, suspended for 6 games. Now, some interesting news, and I do have notes, that way I can stay on track if I end up going off on a tangent. The NFL has told him that if he does something like this again, he could face a longer suspension and possibly banishment from the NFL, meaning like Pete Rose type stuff, like goodbye, Pete Rose. If you don't know, for those of you who are still kind of fairly new, pardon the hair, like it's really messy and stuff like that. I just got back from exercising, and I don't care how I look on this. I am not here to look beautiful, although I do. Anyway, so he could face banishment from the NFL. Pete Rose is a guy who is banished from the the MLB. Major League Baseball. That's what it is. So he's banished from Major League Baseball for betting on games and stuff like that. Also, in regards to this, the suspension, Ezekiel Elliott has 3 business days to appeal. So, whether it was timed this way specifically, I think the NFL kind of like timed it. I think Roger Goodell timed it to where he would have a couple of days, like 5 days total. So today, he's got Saturday and Sunday, which are not business days, obviously, and then Monday and Tuesday to appeal the decision. So that gives him time to talk with his lawyers, talk with the Players Association, and so whether that was planned or not, probably, I think so. Some are saying that it could be dropped when he appeals. It could be dropped to 4 games. Who knows? There are plenty of people out there. There's especially on Twitter, Twitter, like, if you're not on Twitter, you got to get on Twitter because you get news. But you've got to make sure that you highlight the people that you want to get news from and make sure that they that your phone gets notifications whenever they post something in news. So, like, I follow Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter. Ian Rappaport is with NFL. He normally breaks all the NFL news, and Adam Schefter's with ESPN. Same thing. That being said, Ian Rappaport actually ended up... people are talking on Twitter. Sorry, going back to this. People are talking on Twitter about how Josh Brown admitted to hitting his wife. He gets suspended for 1 game. Ray Rice has video out there of him actually hitting his then girlfriend, possibly now wife. 2-game suspension. And now Ezekiel Elliot. Yeah. Evidence according to the NFL, the thing that happened with Ezekiel Elliot, the biggest thing, the interesting thing is because, like, when I heard about it, I thought he was scot-free because there were no criminal charges pressed against him. But I was listening to a guy on 104.5 The Zone in Nashville, and he was explaining that sometimes in these small college towns, or not small college towns, but these towns that have, like, college athletics where the athletic program is super important, sometimes things happen where witnesses, I don't know if witnesses disappear. This is what he said. I'm not saying this. He says witnesses disappear, stories get changed, these kind of things. And, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It doesn't surprise me. And the resources that the NFL has at its hands make it easier for the NFL to delve deeper into these allegations. So, plus I think when people are sitting there saying that Josh Brown gets 1 game, Ray Rice gets 2 games, and why does Ezekiel Elliott get 6 games, and there's more proof for the other 2? I think the biggest thing that we're missing is that the NFL has a tarnished reputation. I mean, just coming out of the pipe was the CET results from the tests, showing that 110 out of 111, or 110 brains that were tested out of 112, 114 had CTE. On top of the fact that domestic violence has been one of the biggest things in the NFL. And so now I feel like Roger Goodell, even though I don't enjoy the fact that he is judge, the jury, and the executioner, I do understand and I can empathize with his desire to make sure that the NFL changes its reputation and that guys realize that when you come in here, you have a model, that you are a role model. You need to show that. And by showing kids, younger kids or young men, that, it's okay to beat women. No, not cool. So I do respect that. I like that about Roger Goodell. So I'm down with it. We're curious to see what's going to happen. Ian Rappaport actually even posted that Zeke will lose $8 million of his guaranteed money, $8 million plus of his guaranteed money if he is not on the field. And being that the suspension is probably going to happen at the beginning of the season, he could lose $8 million or $8 million plus. So that's a lot. So it could be voided his guaranteed $8 million. His guaranteed $8 million will be void if he is not on the field at the beginning of the season, according to Ian Rappaport from NFL. And Jerry Jones is upset. If you don't know who Jerry Jones is, he is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, and he constantly came out the past couple of weeks saying, Ezekiel Elliott is not going to be suspended. It's not going to happen. He is too great and awesome and amazing and And then this came down the pipe. Hearing other people talking about how Roger Goodell Roger Goodell is the commissioner. For those of you who don't really know that much about football, I'm assuming most of you do, but just really quick synopsis. Roger Goodell is the commissioner of the NFL, and he is voted in by the owners of the NFL. Well, it seems like he's gone against Dan Snyder, who is the owner of the Washington Redskins. He has gone against Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys, and Robert Kraft, who is the owner of the New England Patriots. Three of the biggest, not the biggest, but three of the biggest owners in the NFL. Some people are wondering if he's too power hungry. I'm not sure. Like, it seems like he's trying to protect the integrity of the game, or the integrity of the league to an extent. But yeah, I mean, he definitely missed the ball on Ray Rice and Josh Brown, but I think that's why he's coming out in full force against Ezekiel Elliot. And if that wasn't enough, maybe 45 minutes later, 40 minutes later, maybe an hour later, the Buffalo Bills trade their number one wide receiver, Sammy Watkins, to the horrible Los Angeles Rams. And the reason I say horrible is because not only did that organization take a football team out of St. Louis and move it to Los Angeles, as if Los Angeles doesn't have enough stuff, okay? But on top of that, they kept Jeff Fisher, Mr. 8-8, which, as a Titans fan, like, I enjoyed Jeff Fisher's time here. I enjoy the mustache. But seeing his record, I just didn't realize how bad it was. Like, 8-8 constantly, or 7-9, maybe 9-7 if they were lucky. But it's just amazing to me. So, not only that, but they've got such just that organization as a whole. Seriously. So, Sammy Watkins and a 6th-round pick for 2018 gets sent to the Rams for their cornerback, E.J. Gaines, and a 2nd-round pick for the 2018 draft. So a 2018 2nd-round pick and their cornerback, E.J. Gaines. And the Buffalo Bills weren't done. They ended up trading their starting cornerback, Ronald Darby. This is really bad. Ronald Darby to the Eagles for Jordan Matthews, wide receiver, and a 2018 3rd-round pick. So, the Bills are probably not going to do well this year. Just crazy day in football as a whole. So, getting into the Bills. So, Sammy Watkins goes from a pretty good quarterback in Tyrod Taylor to we don't know in Jared Goff. If we go based on last year, they're both going. He's going. Tyrod Taylor has a new offensive scheme, and Sammy Watkins and Jared Goff with the LA Rams has a new offensive scheme. So we don't know exactly how they are going to do, but what we can assume is that the LA Rams are not going to be good. What we can assume is that Jared Goff is still going to struggle. Pardon me as I eat my apple, my peanut butter. Good snack. It's late at night, but I don't care. So we know that Sammy Watkins is not going to do very well this year. Plus, he's been injured. But the Rams are trying. I mean, Jared Goff, if anything, gets some brownie points for having Sammy Watkins because, Tavon Austin has not done has not done what he was supposed to do for the investment that the Rams put into him. Okay? And so getting Sammy Watkins, a premium talent, to be the person that Jared Goff throws to, you can't go wrong there. Okay? And the Bills definitely did amazingly, but the thing that hurts me is the promise that they made to Tyrod Taylor, if you take less money, we're gonna build around you. That's the reason you're gonna take less money. And he's like, okay, I'll take less money and you just build things around me. That way I can do it. And then Sammy Watkins gone. And I don't know, maybe they'll still fulfill that, but I mean with the new everything there in Buffalo, I don't know, we'll see what happens. And then so I think Buffalo as a team, as an organization, made out with bank. So now they have 2 first-round picks for 2018, 2 second-round picks, and 2 third-round picks. And being in a division with a Super Bowl champion, defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots, who I am also a fan of. Being in that division, you really kind of need to, play it Bills game, kind of. And Bill Belichick just is brilliant when it comes to, and the GM, and Robert Kraft and all of them are really brilliant when it comes to just getting as many picks as they can. Don't want to be super high, let me give you this pick, and you give me some of your other ones from later on. And everybody likes to trade on the future. So I think what the Bills did is they said, okay, we're gonna rebuild, even though they didn't really say it. We're gonna rebuild. I'm hoping that they rebuild around Tyrod Taylor. Because he's a cool kid, he's good at what he does. What if they trade LaShawn McCoy? That would be insane. Anyway, but yeah, the Bills, I think, have gotten stronger. So, what kind of fantasy impact does this have? Absolutely none. That's a lie. So today has so much fantasy impact. Ezekiel Elliot. Here's the thing what we have to do with Ezekiel Elliot. So if you love football and you don't care about fantasy, you can end the program now. Although I would suggest getting into fantasy because it is fun and it is exciting and it makes all the games interesting. That's the thing that I love about fantasy football, is that it just makes all the games interesting. Not just the games that you love and you're rooting for and your team. And the thing is you do have to remember, it is your team. People are like, well, I'm worried that I'm not going to root for my team if I go up against that thing. I'm like, it's your team. It's why would you not root for your team? How could you not root for your team? It's your team. Now, if you're really that heartbroken about it, then draft all the people from your team. Just do it that way. You won't win in fantasy, but if you want to win, you got to get your heart out of it. Anyway, so fantasy impact. Ezekiel Elliott is definitely going to go down, but we need to see how many games he's actually suspended for and when it happens. Because the suspension, much like what happened with Tom Brady and Deflategate, that's a lot of jiggle. Need to work on that. Much like what happened with Tom Brady and Deflategate, we could be looking at the suspension later on in the season or next year, or we could be looking at just a dwindled down amount of a suspension. But either way, right now, Ezekiel's fantasy value is dropping down. When he was being taken third overall, he could possibly fall out of the first round. Still a great talent. But if he's not in there for, 6 games is half of your fantasy football season, depending on how long your football season goes. Half is a lot. I'd still like to have him for half. but there's got to be good value, like in the second round, in the third round. Oh, that'd be so nice if you fell to me in the third round. Anyway, I think that Sammy Watkins and Tyrod Taylor both go down. Man, I don't know by how much, because I'm still learning how to adjust rankings and stuff like that, learning how to rank, period. But obviously Sammy Watkins and Tyrod Taylor are going to go down. Tyrod Taylor, because instead of having Sammy Watkins, who is a premium talent, he gets Jordan Matthews, who's okay, but he's not Sammy Watkins. Like, he's not great. He doesn't have the explosive high end point value that Sammy Watkins does. So Tyrod Taylor goes down. Sammy Watkins goes down because he no longer has Tyrod Taylor throwing him the ball. He now has Jared Goff, who, again, we still just maybe. I mean, second year, surely he's got to do better under a different head coach. Sure. I think that Jordan Matthews goes up in the wide receiver rankings just because he's got Tyrod Taylor throwing to him, as opposed to Carson Wentz, who, was okay, but just isn't as dynamic as Tyrod. And I think Goff will go up, just because premium talent Sammy Watkins. Also, be looking into Nelson Aguilar, because he's going to be an interesting guy. Was second string, now becomes maybe primary in Philadelphia. I feel like there's somebody else in Philly that might be interesting. I don't know. We'll have to see. And then there's Zay Jones, who is the rookie out of East Carolina with the Buffalo Bills. He's moving up in stock. He was already, like, a lot of analysts said that he was already pretty high up. Not high up, but like an interest. And now his stock is definitely going to be rising, especially now that you take number one, Sammy Watkins, and go, he's gone. Who's next? Zay Jones and Anquan Bolden, also with the Bills. Definitely be looking into those guys. So. That does it. That's it. Big news day. Big fantasy impacts. We'll see how the Ezekiel Elliot thing continues to play out. This year. And next year, we'll see how the Buffalo Bills do with their draft picks. Maybe they do phenomenally. Maybe they do terribly. Who knows? Sorry it's been so long. I will do my best to make sure that I do this at least once a week from now on. I like Fridays, but that's just because I can stay up late, even though I have to get up early tomorrow. But that's all. I'd be really interested to hear your comments, or your if you have any questions about fantasy or about football, like if you don't know it, or if you want to leave comments about, like, here you go. We'll do this. If you were the Buffalo Bills, would you have traded Sammy Watkins away, or would you have kept him and renewed his contract? If you would have kept him, why? If you would have done the trade like the Bills did, why? So, leave a comment or comments. You can comment on that, or you can just comment on whatever. Thanks for your attention. It says give thanks behind me, and I know it's kind of like backwards because I'm doing this. Or maybe it's right. I don't know. We'll see. But as always, I appreciate your attention. I hope you enjoyed today's show, and see you next time.